Hey, I'm Lorna. Welcome to my channel Thread and Yarn. It's all about knitting and sewing and natural dyeing. Today is a continuation of my autumn making planning. It's going to be a video which is mostly about knitting, what I'm knitting at the moment, what plans I've got for knitting throughout autumn and winter, and also how I'm planning to style it. So it is officially October, which is my favourite month of the year. I love getting excited about autumn clothes and fabrics and styling and just everything as we approach Halloween and on into the festive holidays. So I've got my little autumnal knitwear plan area set up. Look, my candle is actually not feeling that autumnal today. It's quite cloudy and misty. It's got a nice spooky vibe, but it's about 18 degrees, I think. So I'm on the cusp of being a bit too toasty in this. I've been listening to lots of and watching lots of knitting and sewing podcasts lately. I've often watched sewing ones, but I've been working more knitting ones in, and I've really enjoyed having them on in the background while I've been doing my crafts and making things. I like to do a lot of painting and obviously a lot of knitting. And it just feels like having a friend in the background, which I'm really enjoying. So I thought I would do a slightly longer video today where I talk through what I'm working on at the moment and what I've got in my head. And I hope you enjoy it. And I hope also that you feel like the same with this channel, that it's nice to sort of feel like you've got someone who's also interested in knitting and sewing, talking about what they're working on, because I certainly enjoy hearing about what you're working on, and I want you to feel sort of cozy and at home in my channel. So yeah, I hope that comes across. But I will start talking through my plans. I have said this before in my other videos, I quite like to have a think about how things that I'm going to make are going to fit in with pieces I already have in my wardrobe, and I'm trying to use things that I've already got here at home rather than buying new bits. However, occasional supplementation to the stash I think is fine and part of the fun. I try not to get sucked into accumulating too much stuff, which is very easy to do and I've definitely done lots of times. I'm trying to make better habits, and I'm also trying to make sure that all of my pieces go well together and are interchangeable. So this is mostly going to be about knitting. But I am going to talk through how I'm going to pair some of my hand knitted pieces, both ones that I already have and ones I'm planning to make, how I'm going to pair them with the pieces that I've sewn. So for example, now I am wearing this moon set slipover, which is a pattern I tested for Azetta, who designs lots of lovely knitwear with natural fibres. It's quite a useful layering piece. It's just a little tank slipover, and I've got it on top of my Anna Allen Anthea blouse, which I wear quite a lot, and which is in this lovely Merchant & Mills linen. I quite like obviously the colours go quite well together. The pale part of the gingham of this Anthea blouse is a sort of dusky, very pale lilac, which goes with a dusky grey purple of the moonset slipover. I think it's just quite a good layer to put over blouses and shirts and things like that. So that's what I'm wearing today. I've got it on with some grey cords. There you go. And it's pretty cosy. So I will get started showing you some of the things that I've already started making, and then I'll move into some of the knitwear plans I've got. I have talked through some of these already in my autumn plans video. However, I also want to talk through some of the styling, and some of my plans have shifted slightly, which always happens when you actually get into the making of it, I think. So I'll talk you through what I'm up to at the moment. The biggest make that I've been working on for quite a while is this, it's this scallop jacket. Now I can't remember who it's by, but I'll put all the details for all the patterns up here and also in the description section of the video. So this is a sort of ribbed, 2x2 ribbed cardigan jacket. It's in this lovely brown colour in Brooklyn tweed arbor. I'll find out what colourway is. It looks tiny, like it's for a tiny child, but this is because it's ribbing, and when I block it, it's going to stretch a lot, you can see. I have tried it on, it does fit. So this I think is going to be a brilliant basic. It's going to feel really dense and warm. As I've said before, I love my autumn colours and I know that I will wear a lot of brown. I have to be careful though, because I've made a pair of cords this colour and an Otterline jacket in this colour, and they're pretty much exact same shade as this. And then, yeah, so I don't want to be looking like a crayon head to toe the same colour. Although Toast did recently post an advert where they were head to toe in orange. I'll put a picture up, it's so good. So maybe the crayon look is in. But I think this is going to be good. I've knitted a lot of one of the sleeves already, and I've knitted all the body, but I have realised that I really don't enjoy doing sleeves on DPNs. So I'm just waiting for some needles to arrive so I can do them on small circulars. I just find it really time consuming to do magic loop on sleeves or DPNs. I just feel like I'm constantly stopping and starting. Some people like doing sleeves. I am definitely someone who feels like they're stuck on sleeve island. So I'm hoping that this will help me just feel like it's a bit more continuous rather than constantly changing the needle or pulling through the magic loop. So that's the thing. I whizzed up the body quite quickly. In fact, too quickly. I've made it a bit too long. So I might rip back some of this and then restart the sort of hem ribbing here, because I quite like it to sit just below my like waistline, sort of just slightly below the top of my high-waisted trousers and skirts. I find that most comfortable for me. But I think it's going to be really warm. I think I'll get a lot of wear out of it. It's going to have a button band around it, and then I'm going to choose some buttons to go. Probably fairly chunky ones, I think. But I think this is going to be a great basic for autumn and winter. Now, what I'm thinking of pairing it with is my most recent video. I showed how I made these linen pleated trousers. I love them. I think they look really smart when they're dressed up. I made them to go with the matching linen waistcoat, but I also want to be able to dress them down a little bit. I mean, they're always going to be, you know, relatively smart, but I thought that this sort of slightly formal linen look would look really gorgeous with this knitted brown waistcoat to match. I can't show you them on because the waistcoat's the jacket's not finished rather, but you can see, I think, the combination of the colours and the textures, I think, that will look really cool. I'm not sure what I'll wear on my feet. Maybe I've got some brown boots, or I've got some sort of smartish, flat but chunky shoes. I think that could be a goer. That would be nice. But I think this would be really lovely, like out to lunch, or maybe for dinner, or like even like a Christmas party or something like that. I don't feel like wearing a sort of glitzy dress to. But yeah, I think these colours and textures go well together. Show you a bit closer up. This will be easier to see when I've actually finished the things and can show you them. But I think I quite like the different textures there, but they're in the same sort of colour palette. I think I'll be wearing these two together a lot. So I could also, thinking about styling, I could wear like a little white t-shirt underneath it, or I've got a beige Blommer tank, which is like a little high-necked tank top. Something quite simple to dress it down a bit. Or you could even wear like a silk shirt underneath if you wanted to dress it up. Lots of options, but I think they will go well together. So I'm excited to pair these, and that's given me the motivation to finish those sleeves. And I'm hoping that the needles will arrive soon. On a similar note, you can see why all of my stuff ends up the same colour, right? This is slightly different. So this is got a slightly more like ochre honey colour to it. Looking at it on the screen, it looks very similar. Take my word for it, this is slightly lighter. This I showed you in my summer knits video, but I just haven't got around to finishing it because I just feel like I've been so busy. But too many projects, too many ideas. This is a camisole number 5 by My Favourite Things Knitwear. Again, it's another 2x2 rib, and again, I have tried it on, it does fit me. But I'm really getting there. You can see how much it stretches. I'm really getting there with it. I don't have too much more of the body to go. And then there's a neckband around here, and I think there are some cuffs around the arms as well. But I also think that this would look really, really cool with these pleated trousers, I think, tucked in. Those colours go really nicely together. I think that would be quite a chic outfit. And maybe with a light shirt over the top, or even with a sort of complementary dark brown or slightly darker brown scallop jacket on top for some, maybe it'd be too much brown rib. What do you think? But I think these two together would be really cool. So I'm excited about that. I also have that grey truss cardigan I posted about in my first video. I think that would make a really nice sort of slouchy layer over the top of this. All about layering and trying to use summery things in autumn and winter. So I think that will definitely work, and I'm not that far off this. I don't know about you, but I like to have different knit projects for different occasions. So that big chunky cardigan, I don't take that out. That stays normally down by the sofa downstairs. It's pretty easy. I'm just 2x2 ribbing all the way. So I use that to knit while I'm watching telly. I cannot just sit there and watch telly anymore. I have to be knitting. I have to have something in my hands. I feel sort of bereft without it now. But that's a chunky project and it's pretty simple. So I keep that downstairs. This is also pretty simple. But this comes out with me. So it comes on car journeys, or it sits by my bedside. So when I'm a bit sleepy, or if I've woken up early, I'll just do a little bit of this. But often I take this on car journeys, especially if I'm talking to people and I don't want to have to pay attention to something complicated. So that's that. And then other projects I quite like taking out in cars are like socks and things like that. There are some projects which I won't do anything else. I will only knit this, maybe listen to a knitting podcast or watch a bit of telly on my own, something pretty low key because I need to concentrate. But that's my excuse, having multiple whips, works in progress at any one time, because I like different knits for different occasions. So that's the first two and how I'm planning on styling them with these trousers. I think that's going to work quite nicely. Something else while we're talking about tops and jumpers is, so actually I'm going to show you another little project that I'm going to start soon, and this is a really sweet little project that I think is going to be quite easy. So I bought this, actually my lovely friend picked it up for me from Loop in London. It's this little ball of mohair yarn. It's Ito Sensei. It's 60% mohair, 40% silk. It's just a little 20-gram ball. It's in the colourway Moss. Now, I have to say, I did think that looking at it online and by the name of the colour, I thought it was going to be a bit of a deeper green. Like I thought maybe a bit more like olivey. It's quite pale. I wouldn't really call that a moss colour. It's pretty accurate how it's looking on screen. So it was a little bit like, it's quite a lot paler than I thought, but still it is really pretty. But my plan for this was to knit a scrunchie. So I quite like wearing scrunchies, quite gentle on your hair when you're tying your hair up. And I think you can have quite a lot of fun with accessorising them. I like using fabric scraps for scrunchies, and I saw a picture on Instagram that inspired me, and I much prefer the colour of theirs, which is kind of what I thought this would be like. I still think it'll go. It is paler. It'd be nice to have something a slightly different colour. It's nice not to just pick the same thing over and over again, I suppose. I'm going to have a go at making this scrunchie, and I think it's going to be a nice little refreshing project. It shouldn't take too long. I can't foresee it being too complicated, she says. So I think it'll be a nice little quick win. I feel like I've had a lot of big projects that take a long time, and it feels like a while since I've had that sort of excitement of finishing a knitted project and enjoying all the time spent, working out all the details and things and actually get to wear it. So I had a lot of, it's my own fault because I've spread myself over lots of different projects. But it'd be nice to have a little one that won't take too long, I think. So that's that one. Now, the other thing that's been going on for a while that I haven't made tons of progress of and is not technically knitting. My lovely friend, for my birthday, got me a crochet hook, and said it came with a free crochet lesson. So the pair of us are making crocheted vests using up scraps, which is quite fun. This is all I have done at the moment. I've done 2 squares, so she has nearly finished her front and half her back, and I have done this, but then that's okay. But I'm really enjoying these colours together. So we're kind of, well, we've been inspired by this toast crocheted slip over. I've actually got quite a lot of the similar colours in my stash, which is handy. And I topped up with a couple of these little cotton balls that I got from the yarn shop that I work in 1 day a week. Yeah, I'm just slowly going over this. I keep doing squares and strips and things like that, but I'm going to need her help when we start doing necklines and armholes and stuff like that. But it's a nice little slow thing, and I think you can wear vests all year round, so this has no deadline. I can finish it whenever. It'll be just as lovely in spring as it will be in autumn. I don't know about you, but I often find I set myself strange, arbitrary deadlines, especially if there's an event coming up. I mean, fair enough with the reunion I just had, that was a fairly hard deadline. But I'll get in my head, oh, I might be seeing some friends in 2 weeks' time. I must finish this thing by then, because I really imagine myself suddenly in this outfit or with this knitted thing at that point. And then I get a bit stressed trying to finish it. And then I think, I don't know why, because I'm the only one who's created this situation, and I'm trying not to do that. So I'm trying to take the pressure off and not thinking I need to have all these things finished by October, because otherwise they won't be ready for autumn. There are some things like that brown jacket I would really like to finish, because I think I don't really have any warm cardigans other than my grey truss cardigan, which I wear all the time and is also quite a deep v-neck, and I want something that's going to keep my core warm, so I think practically that will be really useful. But all the other things are just nice to have, aren't they? So I'm trying to take the pressure off and enjoy the process, not just trying to rush to finish, because you can't really do that with knitting. It does kind of force you to slow down. That is originally one of the things I loved about it. Same with natural dyeing, you can't rush that process. Whereas sewing, I feel, can sometimes be a bit frantic. These are slow crafts. But I do like the colours of these. I think it's going to be fun, especially with a little white shirt or something. So I spoke about this a little bit in my autumn plans part 1 video, but I am making a smocked shirt pattern that I'm currently designing, and maybe just for me, maybe not, I haven't decided yet. I think it will be great basic under a lot of these sorts of things, so I think it will look lovely under this vest, having this sort of slightly off-white neutral. It's made of hemp as well, so it's got the kind of like nice historic feel to the fabric, which I'm quite enjoying. So I'll probably wear this with like jeans and a white or off-white shirt, or even over, it could be cool over a dress actually, because it's going to be quite loose, have little side ties, so I think it's going to be quite flexible with how I wear this one. Next up is something I started working on last autumn, but I didn't make tons of progress with it, even though I love it. I think it's going to be gorgeous. I adore this yarn, but there was quite a lot of new stitches and I really had to focus. And I just found that I ran out of time where I could only just sit there and I didn't have to multitask. So, but this is the Wilderness sweater by Fibre Tales. I was really excited the first time she posted it. I waited for ages for it to come out and it finally came out. Bought the pattern straight away, cast on straight away. This was last November, I think. And then it's just kind of sat there while I worked on summer projects and waited for time to come up that I could focus on it. It is this beautiful, beautiful colour. Ooh, dropping stitches, whoopsie. It's Brooklyn Tweed. I really rate their yarn actually. It's got a kind of robustness to it without it being like itchy. Sometimes I find that with kind of like sticky, scratchy wool, I don't find it itchy at all, even though it feels kind of rougher. Whereas I don't tend to go for mohairs and things like that, because although ostensibly they seem quite soft, I find all those sort of loose, furry hairs really, yeah, make my neck itch. But this sort of crunchy wool, natural, relatively unprocessed, although this has been dyed, it still really smells like wool. You can smell the lanolin, you can feel it on your hands. I really love that. This is the colour Hayloft. It's a really nice, warm, autumny yellow. It's the same fibre that, oh, I could have sneezed out, that I made my Brooklyn Tweed truss cardigan from, although I used this Shelter, which is like a worsted weight. This is kind of a sport weight. I think I did it on 3.5mm needles. but it's the same fibre, just a different weight. I love that it's worn so well. It barely bobbles. I feel really warm in it. So I think this is going to be such a good jumper, and I really need to get on with it because I do enjoy it, and I just need to try and relax, turn off the telly, and just spend some time just with this and a cup of tea, I think, some music. It sounds good. You can see that there's going to be a really nice pattern around the yoke. There's some different stitches that I hadn't done before. Let me see if it would be easier on this side to show you. There was, I think it's called Latvian braid along the bottom. Hadn't done that before. And then some various stitches which are kind of like held, almost like cables, and pulled over. And I think it's going to have a really nice effect. You can see how lovely it catches the light. And I just love this sort of colour on me. It just warms me up, and I think it's going to go with lots and lots and lots of my stuff. And looking at it now, I'm like, yes, I need to finish this. It looks good. It looks good. So it almost looks golden. Yeah. So there's textured yoke, and I'm quite enjoying that. There's a book I really want to get, although I might drop hints for it for Christmas. It's called Textured Knits. It's one that, I don't know how to say it. Is it Lane? The French publishing house. They're publishing it, and they're kind of marketing it a lot at the moment. There's lots of textured knits in it. Now, I really like colour work, but I think I want to explore more a bit with textured knits and creating a bit of interest using, learning different stitches basically and different techniques. So I think that could be fun. And this is the sort of thing that's in the book. Well, it's a different designer. I plan on wearing this with everything, basically. I think it'll look really cool with high-waisted skirts. And something I had in my head since the moment I decided to make it was that it would look really nice with a shirt underneath, so you could just see the collar through. So I'm not sure how well this is going to go. Hopefully I don't pull it off the needles. But I've made this off-white Olia shirt by Paper Theory a couple of years ago. They're great basics. I wear them a lot. I think it's gonna, you really have to use your imagination, but I think it's gonna look so nice with a collar over the top of this. I think this sort of warm off-white with the ochre is gonna look lovely. I'm really excited about that. And similarly, try not to lose all my stitches, chaos. Similarly, I think my high-necked smocked shirt is gonna look really nice with a sort of ruffled neckline poking up through this. So I think it's going to be great to wear over things like that. I want it to not have loads and loads of space, but I want it to have enough ease that I can put shirts underneath it. So I think I'll get a lot of wear out of this. I think a lot of my shirts and basics all fit the same colour, or similar colours as well, because I quite like to accessorise and put different layers on waistcoats and knitted jumpers and vests, and play around with things like that. And I think having some core basics like that really helps, makes it easier. So I've got this fabric. It's this sort of really dark green khaki linen, and I think it's going to go with lots of these. Oh, you just see those colours together, they're gorgeous, especially with a paler neutral as well. So I've got this fabric. I've got about 2 meters, and I'm thinking I'm either going to make a high-waisted, quite voluminous skirt, or maybe I'll make some high-waisted trousers, maybe like the bob pants, something with a bit of volume in the legs, but a fitted waist. And I think it will look really nice with all of I'm hoping my jumpers will finish at my waistline. So I've got lots of interchangeable things to wear. I love these colours so much. But what do you think? I'm wondering, I do really like high-waisted skirts. I do find that I do lots of practical active stuff in skirts and big dresses, to be honest. I feel like there's a lot of room to move, and I don't have to worry about them wearing through like you do on a seat of a trouser. But then you have to wear more layers underneath when it's cold. So I can't decide. I'm not sure whether a long high-waisted skirt would be more wearable, or if I should make some more trousers. What do you think? I also sometimes worry but with sort of long, big skirts, that it starts looking a bit like I'm trying to dress in period costume. I do quite like that. And to be honest, where I live in Stroud, no one would take a second look. People wear whatever they want, which is great. So I also mentioned in my autumn plans video that I was going to knit a fitted cardigan that's going to be quite high-waisted, and I wanted to wear with this fabric. I think I spoke about this fabric, but I didn't show you. It's out of reach. And I've cast one on the other day, so thank you all for your suggestions. They were all really good. I ended up going for the Rota cardigan by Anna. Now I'm going to butcher this surname, so I'm really sorry, but it's Anna Svorsvad. Please help me with that. I don't think I've said that right. She's a lovely Swedish designer. She's got a YouTube channel which I found recently, so check it out if you haven't already. She talks through what she's up to and her patterns. But I've cast on that cardigan. It's like fingering weight cardigan, which is great because I have quite a lot of that sort of weight in my stash. And I'm using this lovely yarn by Pigment and Ply, which I spoke about. I've now wound it all. And the colours are just like every colour of autumn. I love it so much. It's just gorgeous. And I don't have much variegated knitting in my wardrobe, so it'd be nice to have a piece like this. And this is how it's knitting up. It's got lots of lovely, I'd say flavours. Maybe I'm hungry. It's got lots of lovely autumnal colours. And it's going to be quite fitted, quite cropped. It's high necked. I think it will look great with this. This is what I originally planned, was to wear this and this together. And I had imagined it being a high-waisted skirt, but maybe I'm talking myself into making bob pants now. It's got nice increases on the shoulder, and in fact I'm doing the increases differently to how I normally do them in this pattern, or at least that's what the pattern asks for. Normally when I do an increase, I'll like make one left and make one right either side of the raglan, and I'll do it with an invisible increase where I pick up the bar in between stitches and then either knit through the back leg or the front leg to twist it, whichever one I'm doing. This one, on the purl side, when you get to before the raglan, you do a yarn over, and then when you come back past it, on the knit side, you knit it through the front or the back leg, whichever one twists it, which has a very similar effect. However, because you've yarned over and not just pulled up the bar in the middle between stitches, it does mean you get a bit more space on either side of the raglan. So I'm not sure if that's a deliberate design feature or if that's just how Anna always does increases. I was thinking at first that I'd rip it back and I'd just do my normal increases, because I feel like it looks like how I did increases before I knew how to do increases neatly. But I'm thinking maybe it's a design feature. So I'm going to trust in it and I'm going to keep going, because otherwise it's quite a plain cardigan. And she does actually recommend not to make it with yarn like this. So this is superwash yarn, can stretch a little bit. However, I was in between sizes and I made this the smaller of the two. So if it's stretched a little bit with blocking, that's not the end of the world. But I'm quite tempted after I've done this to make a really rustic version with some totally natural, maybe even an undyed yarn, just to see, have a really nice warm, cozy, bit more robust one, whereas this is going to be a bit more delicate and a bit prettier in its own way. So that's that one. I cast it on the other day, yesterday even. I woke up really early and I watched the sunrise and I just worked on this, and it was delightful. I love those little like snatched moments where I feel like I've done something when I would normally be sleeping. I'm loving that, and I did that in a couple of hours yesterday. I'm not the fastest knitter ever, but it is quite fine weight. I'm excited to see how this is going to come together. Now I'm going to move on to plans. So those are all the things I've currently got on the go. I think a lot of my plans are going to be about sock knitting. I really want to make more socks. I find that I can't really wear anything other than wool on my feet, or I have an issue with my foot, which I won't go into, but it's just so much better because it's so much more breathable wool. It just, those sort of natural protein fibres, I think, just understand like naturally how to regulate temperature and sweat and things like that. I much prefer wool. I even wear wool in the summer with, you know, wool knits. Cotton can be great as well, but it can get a little bit heavy. But wool just really understands how to keep you warm when you're cold, and how to sort of temperature regulate when you're too hot. I'm not saying wear a big thick woolly jumper in the summer. I just find it much more breathable. I'm going to be making lots of wool socks, I think, this winter. I think they're a really good little project to take out and about with you. They feel kind of manageable and not too overwhelming, not casting on another massive jumper. And my lovely friends for my birthday in the summer got me 52 weeks of socks, which I've been looking through and thinking, making little mental notes about which ones I'm going to make, and I thought I would show you some of the ones I had planned. We got this lovely yarn in the other day at the shop, and it's much this sounds so silly, like this is wild for me, this colourway. It's called Autumn Walk, so I felt like I was like massively influenced by the name. Very bright. I kind of didn't realise how bright until I unwound it, because I think there were slightly more muted colours, like browns and oranges on the top. But you know what? It's socks. It's going to be fun. It's by James Makes Yarn, and he's a local yarn dyer, which is pretty cool. So, and awesome to have his stuff in the shop. And I thought I would make some patterns from this book. Try not to set light to any of my yarn either. So there's a couple of cool patterns that I think will really show off. So there's this one. This is called La Colque by Lotte Lothgren. And I won't show you the actual pattern, obviously, but this is a picture of it. And it's got these sort of ribbed, and they're ribbed with a little bit of sort of braided, I think it must be slipped stitch, if you can see that, down across. And I think something like this would work quite well. I could get a contrast, use some scrap yarn to do contrast cuffs maybe, so that's an option. And then there was another one on page 40 that I liked. Where's that gone? Oh no, that's not the one for this. Bear with while I flick through my book. Yeah, here we go. So this is Aurora by Heli Rajavara. It's got a kind of cabling down it, and I think this sort of texture would be, about my really broken nails, excuse me. This texture would be really cool, I think. It does look quite nice in a plain colour, so maybe I'm wondering if I should save it for a plain colour. But there's so many in here. I also do have this Coop Knits, Socks, I think it's called, yarn in this lovely greeny colour. Love this sort of colour. This is the colour I thought the scrunchie would be. Anyway, this could be cool. You could really see the pattern with this like really gorgeous green yarn. Quite tempted to do that. They're only 50 grams these, so they can't be too high up the socks. So I feel like these are decorative enough that I'm not knitting these just for, you know, being really warm winter socks. So I think a 50-gram skein will be fine. So I'm definitely going to be making some socks and having fun flicking through this gorgeous book. The socks that were on page 40, which is not something I'll do with this yarn. It's called Drowse by Kaori Katsurade. And there's brioche on the socks. It means that they've got quite a lot of ease. They're quite drapey. They've used Life in the Long Grass, which I love. I feel like they're house socks. They're really lovely, really. I feel like you could use some silk or some alpaca content with this. I love having luxurious socks to wear around the house. I work from home most of the time. So most of the time I work as a freelance writer, and I spend a lot of time pottering around, making myself cups of tea, going out to see the chickens, and sitting on my computer writing. And I love feeling cosy. Also, this picture sent me off on some kind of wild tangent where I was like, I must make a skirt like this. This would be so nice. And I think it would be absolutely gorgeous with this cardigan. And I was trying to remember what this fabric was called, and I think it's called plisse or plissé. I don't know how to speak any French, so correct me if I'm wrong, which I almost certainly am. But I couldn't find a deep red like this. Or if I could, it was really like poly, and I wasn't sure it would look as nice. Anyway, I thought that'd be such an awesome Christmas outfit if I made that little cardigan. I know that's me setting a deadline, but it's quite far away. And it's no pressure if it doesn't work out. But that could be a really cute outfit, don't you think? This really deep, luxurious red with some really nice socks. I love how my idea of what like a cool outfit for a party would be has changed so drastically from when I was, well, 10 years ago. I was 22. I have a very different idea now of how I want to dress myself. So, but yeah, this book's awesome. I have the first one as well, which looks great. I got given them both within about a week of each other. But I think this one has got a few more like textured things in it. The other one's got more colour work. I think that's right. I'm a bit more excited about some of the ones in here. However, I'm sure they will both keep me going. 2 lots of 52 weeks worth of socks. That's quite a lot of socks. And I have quite a bit of sock yarn to use. I bought some in a sale. I got this Garthenor Prizelli sock yarn, and I've got some more Keep Knits, yeah. And I did sock share. We did a yarn swap recently as well, where I got some of these, which is good because sock yarn can sometimes be a little bit pricey. So I've done well there, so I need to make use of it now. And another plan I have is I've got this, well, I'm also asking for your advice. So I've got this Aran Weight West Yorkshire Spinners yarn. I've got one undyed Jacob fleece, I think it's, yeah. And then I've got these, I assume that they've been dyed, or they might be undyed, light grey Jacobs Aran. They smell so rustic and delicious, like real, like sheep, which I love. I love that. And they've definitely got that feel over them. And I quite like working with natural yarn, despite the stuff I've just shown you, because it just smells so good, I think. And it's like when you get a book that just smells delicious, and you just can't stop. Yeah, I quite like animally smells. Like, this is probably a weird tangent, but I always smell my dog's head. Bit weird. Anyway, I love the smell of this. It's just gorgeous. I'm rambling. So what I'm thinking about with this, some sort of natural colour work project, I'm wondering, there's, so a friend of mine on Instagram has got a YouTube channel called Orchid's Heart, and she made I think it's called an unarmoured defence cowl recently, and I just loved the look of it. And she did it in this beautiful rich grey, warm grey colour, and it looked just so cozy for the autumn and winter. And I quite like little layers like that, just adding little bits on. It also looked like a nice fun project, so I need to check what weight it is, but I'm wondering whether I could make some kind of like colour worky version of that. But I think that could be a nice layer to wear, especially if, you know, I've got a lighter coat on, but I just want a little bit of warmth here. It's got such a nice neckline, and I think this is quite robust wool, a bit scratchy, but again, less so than the Brooklyn tweed, which I don't find itchy at all. I think I could get by with this on my neck. It might be a nice use of 3 skeins, because I don't know what to use 3 skeins of Aran Weight for otherwise. It's not enough for a jumper. I've got a million vests at this point. So I think maybe a cowl could be fun. If you've got any other ideas, let me know. But I'm leaning towards something like that if it works out with the weight. I think it would look great with like long sleeved jersey tops and things like that, and a pair of jeans or trousers. I also recently have got this cord, which I'm thinking of making maybe some wide leg Helene jeans or some Persephone pants maybe. And I think if I had like a nice, maybe like an off-white or a brown long sleeve jersey, and then I could put the cowl over the top, I think that could be quite a nice combination of colours. And I think this piece, whatever trousers I make from this, will go well with quite a lot of the other stuff that I've shown you. I think it will go well with warm colours. Yeah, I think that looks cool together. And you can tie it in with, bring other little bits of colour in. So I'll just grab, I saw everybody making Sophie scarves and Sophie shawls. It must have been springtime. I decided just to make my own version up. I did an I-cord edge and made a tiny little scarf, basically, just made it up. But I think it's quite cute with a little white shirt, this around your neck. So I think this could help tie things in. So I could wear the trousers and then this sort of mustardy jumper, and then I could pop this scarf around. I feel like it's getting a little bit Christmas themed now. It's just because I've got a few red things out, isn't it? But yeah, it's quite cute. I've seen bigger ones as well, which I'm quite tempted by having a go at. And just generally having a go at making a shawl. I've never made a shawl before, so that's something I'm going to do near winter time, because I've got enough to be getting on with, haven't I, before making up any other project ideas. Those are the knitting projects that I've got on my mind that I want to work on over the next few months. I think some of them are nearly there. I get a lot of wear out of all of them, and some of them are a bit more sort of luxurious or longer burn projects, or nice, hopefully little things like the scrunchie or the socks. So I feel like I've got a good balance of projects. I'm just trying to get into better patterns of not putting pressure on myself to finish stuff by a certain season or a certain date, and just enjoy the process. I don't know how any of you manage that sort of thing, if you find that that affects you, or if you're not bothered and you don't put pressure on yourself. If so, what's your secret? The thing is, I just feel like I have ideas all the time about things I want to make, and I have to constantly rein myself in. Firstly, because I don't want to be really consumptive of materials and wasteful, and also because, you know, I have to actually work and, you know, spend time with people, talk to my partner, and I need to remind myself to have balance. I know what I'm like. Sometimes I can just get really immersed in projects and don't come up for air. So balance in general in life is important, isn't it? So I should also apply it to this. But this does bring me more joy than a lot of other things. So, and I'm sure many of you feel the same, which is why we spend our time crafting and talking to other crafters. On which note, I've mentioned a couple of knitting podcasts that I've been watching recently, and I have been watching a lot more of them. And I think I often watch sewing ones, but it's just lovely to, I hope some of you feel like this with my channel, but what I really feel is that it's like sitting down and having a friend, you know, talking to you in the background while you're working on a project or a craft. And I just think that's really lovely. Not all of us have crafting friends immediately available or that live near us, and sometimes it can feel like, I certainly felt like this when I lived in, or where I lived before. Yeah, I'm a bit lucky that in Stroud I've made quite a lot of crafty minded friends, and I love all my non-crafting friends too, but sometimes it's just nice to have somebody to get excited about something with you, and I feel like the online sewing and knitting community definitely does that for me as well. So I hope you feel like at home in my channel, and that it, you know, you get inspiration from some of the things that I've spoken about. I certainly feel like that when I read through your comments and you suggest pattern ideas or tell me about the things you're working on. I think it just, yeah, it just makes it feel like a lovely community. So I just wanted to say how much I appreciate that, and how I hope, yeah, that you feel at home in my channel. So thank you for watching this slightly longer video where I talked through all my autumn knits. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this slightly longer sort of talk through of what I'm doing, just thought I would sort of check in. But yeah, thank you very much for listening to all of this, and I will see you soon.